Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Good. Almost the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
Last meeting of the day.
Someone did an experiment at work to come up with agents per person to like synthesize people's personality into a agent.md file so they can make PR reviews based on that person's personality. Gone through, they've like ingested everything, like every Slack comment ever written, every Google Doc ever written, all that kind of stuff. And so um yeah, now I'm like reading what AI thinks my like thinks the Doctor Who sci-fi brain upload thing is very interesting.
Is it the real you talking to us right now? This is the question.
I could be, who knows? Who knows?
No, we don't know. We don't know. I've just found out about the Claude dashboard. Maybe you knew about it. But it's pretty cool. It shows every commit made by Claude and the
Wow.
speed, the progress. Pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and this is why GitHub was unstable the other day and why I couldn't make a PR because everyone's hammering GitHub with
Yep.
Claude.
TypeScript is a good number one language, then
Mm.
followed by Python, JavaScript, Rust, and Go. Swift is
Who's a
not too
GraphQL?
bad. Where is
Yeah.
GraphQL? Yeah, good question. Where is GraphQL? It doesn't show. Astro, Kotlin, C, Vue, CSS, Ruby, Lua, Svelte, Lynx, Lin, Verilog, Markdown. And find it. It's in the very little slices. How do we tell Claude about GraphQL?
Well, we're in the right working group for that.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I think skills have been discussed in the past.
I think the biggest question is if someone creates like prompts Claude to create a new project, like new full stack project, what backend is it going to use?
Yeah, well, I guess like on when they do the post like training, like when Anthropic or OpenAI, they that's kind of when they get to like manually teach it. Hey, you should like prefer this, and this.
Yeah.
And so there's like literally humans deciding that. I'm not sure. Um, and then whichever like language you're using or GraphQL framework you're using, I would love it if this isn't a GraphQL problem. This is like a like agents.md spec problem, but I would love it if like your coding agent could automatically pick up, oh, you installed this package in like Cargo or npm or Go or whatever. That package was distributed with an agent.md or like llms.txt, and so like that should automatically go into like the skills directory or something like that. Because that then we could start putting that in various
Yep.
GraphQL related flows. But that's not a GraphQL specific problem.
Yep.
Hey everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, actually, Hugh is next to me.
Hello.
And
There you go.
yeah, we are not able to dial in using the company monitor, so that's why I was like, okay, we'll just dial in using laptop, and then we'll use my microphone. Hopefully that works. Let's see. Oh, okay. Nobody volunteered to be the host. I guess I will be the host today. So let me for everyone who's name, I guess all of the meta people, none of your names is in the attendee list. Add our own names to the attendee list afterwards. But let's do the intro based on the current people who are on the list. And then we do the meta ones afterwards. Just a reminder, everyone, thank you so much for joining the AI working group. By joining this meeting, you agree to the membership agreement, participation, contribution guideline, and code of conducts. So this meeting I think it will be published into our YouTube channels and may use LLM or AI to summarize our notes. So let's do a very quick intro in the order of current attendee list. So Dale, I'm giving it to you first. Wait, Dale is not even here. Okay, Mark.
Hi everyone, Mark from Yelp.
Hey, Martin from Apollo.
Hey, I'm Mike Lorabello from Airbnb. Just FYI, I will be leaving early because I have a conflict. But great to be here.
I think I'm next.
Yep.
Jeff here from Apollo. Good to see y'all again.
All right. And I'm Kuwei from Meta.
And then I'm Hugh from Meta as well.
Can you guys hear Hugh? Because that's from my microphone.
A little
A
quieter.
little quiet.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm Hugh from Meta. Thank you.
And then Jose?
And I'm Jose from Meta.
All right. So for a quick reminder of the key initiatives. Grants are available. Actually, Martin, I know you are preparing for some of the grant stuff. Do you want to share a little bit more? Sorry for putting you up on the spot.
Yeah, sure. Let me find the right request. I'd love to get a bit more grants this year and to use grants for projects that needs more people. So AI is typically one of them. So what we're going to do is create a call for project and with two goals. First goal is to set a fixed amount to cut a bit the discussions around how to price, how to value the work. So we're looking at 5K per grant, and it's up to the candidate to estimate and make sure that they propose work that is worth 5K. And the second one, there's a list of projects coming from TSC members and GraphQL community members that are good starting points. So we want to steer people in the community towards the places where we believe we need the more help. And the list of projects is inside this pull request here. So we're looking at launching this in the coming days. If you have something you need help with, feel free to add some more project ideas to this call for project. If you want to work on something, you can actually already file for a grant. It's using the same standard grant process that we've been using for the previous years, so you can already do this. And that's it. So if you know or if you want to contribute GraphQL stuff, let's do this.
All right. Thank you so much. And I know this is like kind of super relevant to our working group because like I think this year we specifically called out like AI related projects initiatives can get the funding. So this is extra motivation for us to like do something nice for the community. All right. And then moving on to actually, Martin, that's your is the tagline, that's a different one, right?
Yeah, I allowed myself to put it at the beginning because I think it's a short one. Let's see. We were discussing with Jeff the other day, and we were looking at the GraphQL.org website. So if you go to GraphQL.org right now, it says a query language for modern APIs, which is good. But brainstorming, Jeff said, hey, we should put something about AI there. And we came up with this, the API language for humans and agent. I think this is what we ended up with. So putting humans first and agent after humans. I don't know, maybe we can discuss the order. But I find it great, to be honest. I think it's a very good update to the tagline. It showcases GraphQL as a language for APIs, not only a query language, but also a schema description language. And it's also a language that is very good for both humans and agents. So, and it's short, so I love everything about it. Jeff, did you want to say a bit more about it?
I think you captured it. I'm
Yeah.
just, brainstorming, whatever, it's hard. Words are hard. Naming things is hard, but something like that still is short and snappy, but maybe, is a signal that this is a tech that's built for the agentic era. Probably is a good idea. So I don't know.
I
Not bad.
like this direction. I'm wondering, there is this company that did their rebranding that's currently escaping my mind. I want to maybe let's take an example at what they are doing. Does anyone know? Not linear. Oh, they changed their name to PromptQL. That was the one.
Asura.
Asura, yes.
Sora. I wonder what is their tagline, but I like the current our suggestion. It's simple. It's for humans and agents. Love it.
Do we want to put agent first?
Agent and human? Let's see, what's the one? Oh, okay. So Linear says for teams and agents. So
But I mean, they're specifically around like issue tracking. So I guess teams. I like the version. I mean, we can bike shed this endlessly, but I mean, I really like the. Yeah, doesn't matter.
okay, yeah. All right. Love it. And then one thing I did notice is I think there is a separate place where if you just start typing into graphql.org, I think it might be header. It still says a query language for your API. That's a different one. So it's a different place than for the modern API. So Martin, if you are doing pull requests, we might want to update that place as well.
Ask Claude to
Yeah, ask Claude to find where it is, and then we can figure that one out. All right. Okay, so I will put some feedback to this and bike shed a little bit. My recommendation is so Martin either bring it up to the TSC meetings and eventually we bring it to the board for this change. But I think it will be generally welcomed and not super difficult one to change.
Yeah, to this group, if you have feedback, please write comments. If you like the change, do not hesitate to approve or put a thumbs up. It gives more context for if we need to decide in a board meeting or something like this.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. And then, all right, moving on. That was a short one. So Mark, and Mark, this is you. Apologize I was not able to join the meeting yesterday. Hope there was some interesting discussion coming out of it.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. So let me share my screen real quick. Share screen, Chrome tab, mock spec. Alrighty. So this is being tracked in GAP 10. So this is the URL and put it in the sidebar. And then you can see all the discussion and the spec and everything from here. Okay, so just like a real quick 10-second reminder of what this is, if you're not familiar. The idea is that you can add a mock directive in your operations for both like simple scalar values and also the sort of more complex selection sets to mock out the response. And this is specifically intended for request, for like request time stuff. So if you're iterating locally in dev and you're waiting for the backend to add a new field, but you want to write the UI for it now, then you can add this mock directive and you can start writing real UIs using fake mocked data. And so there's some examples here of how it's used. Also, big shout out to Michael, who is in this meeting because he published the Airbnb blog post about how they do this. And then it sounds like there's a lot of people already doing something very similar to this. Like folks from Expedia and Meta, like we've all been talking about this. And so, cool, this is something that we all think is roughly a good idea. And I would like to come up with a spec that we can all use as much of as possible, I guess. It sounds like everyone has slightly different, like coming at this from slightly different angles. So I don't know if the mock spec will be used in its entirety across all organizations, but maybe it can kind of incorporate, enough stuff that it can be fit into these places. And then we get the benefit of having like reference implementations of the tooling that can be shared. A large way that this is implemented, for example, if you're using Apollo Client, could be in an Apollo link that could then, to use the spec, you would just install the Apollo link. And then if it gets like popular enough and enough people use it, maybe like the Apollo folks decide, maybe we'll upstream this into Apollo Core or something like that. So that's kind of the idea of trying to, and that is the idea of gaps in general, is that this, if it's something that solves a lot of people's needs, if we can kind of coordinate on a spec for it, then all the better for everyone. So yeah, there's still some pending feedback action items that I have yet to take care of. But this is, again, you can click on this for like the rendered spec of it. This is kind of how it stands at the moment. I think it's pretty much where I want it to be, big picture wise. There is a demo that you can play around with as well. Links in here, so you can see, I don't take so much more time, but if you were to open up the Chrome network tab and see the real request being sent live, this is against the countries API. So the countries API does not have capital and population. So when so like when I send this network request, it only sends for code name capital emoji. It does not include population in the request sent to the server because that does not exist in the schema. This is resolved locally. And then it gets kind of merged in using either static mock JSON files or inline values over here. The reason that this is under the AI working group, I should clarify, is because this mock file for the mock data isn't something that we really want to maintain with human hands. Like this should just be, LLM driven. And so part of this spec is to sort of heavily suggest that we provide a skill to maintain this this mock data. And then there's also discussions about, well, what does that mean for unit tests? Start using, unit test mocks that you know share the same mock data JSON. Yeah, maybe that's like a future thing. For now, I'm like pretty much just focused on the writing dev, like getting local dev stuff working. Yeah, there's a lot of different directions this could take. This is my current stab at it. Again, this incorporates a lot of feedback from Micah and some other folks. So yeah, curious to kind of see what people think, where it currently stands, and what big picture stuff might need changing. So I guess my final thing I'll say is, if you care about this, if you're doing something similar, if you think it should go in a different direction, or you think it should be extended in any way, please comment on the GitHub issue, and I'll have to try and incorporate as much feedback as possible.
Awesome. And I'm just reading through like the kind of the core features that we're gonna it seems like we agreed on. We're gonna provide operation level, field level, and is the new one a selection set level? Mark, do you want to get maybe into a little details? Because I know there were some recommendations of fragment level mock, which you mentioned was a little hard to do. So things like that.
Yeah. So you can mock on operation routes, and you can mock on fields. Now, a field can be either a simple scalar,
leaf,
or a field can have a selection set. If a field is just wait, this is the wrong one. I think something's linking to the wrong thing. I need to update this. I have like a WIP version. If you're looking at this, make sure it's not WIP. I need to delete that. Yeah. So if you are just mocking simple fields, then you don't. Yeah. So if you're just mocking like a field which returns a scalar, then you can just kind of like mock it out in line, perhaps. Like, it's not worth like asking Claude to do whatever. You can just kind of dump in something there, I guess. If that field returns a selection set in your query, then you would have to like put like a JSON string inside of here, and then you're dealing with nested quotes, and it gets really ugly. And also you might be just have like a lot of stuff nested inside of here, like maybe you doing fragment spreads inside of here. So that's fine. So that's kind of when we get into the mock JSON file stuff, you just give it like a key. And then in the mock data JSON file, you would define the actual data inside of here, and the LLM decides that. So in both cases, you're mocking fields. That seems good enough. Like, you can still mock fragment data, but you're mocking it kind of at the call site of the fragment, if that makes sense, rather than like mocking a fragment route. I've got some stuff in the README about why that kind of gets a bit tricky. I would love to have a separate discussion about fragments, or maybe we can do it right here, right now, if there's time. List positions and like mocking fragment routes, because the way they get like reused and composed kind of gets really tricky for knowing how to like merge them in. Like, the client has to merge in this data, and it gets really tricky if you're not doing it in this way. But yeah, we can keep talking about that if you have thoughts.
Yeah, so sorry, maybe just one question here is, even if you are mocking at the call site level, I know it simplifies things a little bit, but let's say theoretically we have nested mocks, and then how are you deciding on the precedence?
The current version of the spec does not support nested mocks. It's explicitly called out as a validation error.
Okay.
Yeah, where is it? Nested mock. And whilst this might look it visually would be a bit confusing, I think, because there's no clear, obvious, like, just by looking at it, if you're like a random developer and you don't know the semantics of the spec, like, how do you know which one of these mocks wins? So there's some ambiguity there. And so the way to resolve that is just by saying, like, we're just not going to do that. And then this must be done recursively as well. So basically the top level mock would be used. If you want to mock out this thing, you would mock out the top thing. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're the way we're kind of avoiding how basically the problem that fragment definition side is by validating, like we're making sure there's no nested mocks, because that was kind of essentially the same problems that if you introduce mocks at the front definitions.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say this is me thinking through this with the help from Claude, of course. This is not me saying this is how it absolutely has to be, like the spec is done. This is very much like a proposal, it's a draft. And so I welcome people being like, well, actually, we could do it. We just need to do this instead. And then
Yes.
great, like I'd love to be able to support it. Like if we can figure out a way to do it in a way that like doesn't have ambiguity or like it like adds like a lot of complexity, then I'd certainly be open to that. So I'll keep this open as like a to do. Let's keep talking about it thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't see a concern of introducing something that is very restrictive to begin with. Like we can like lift the restriction afterwards. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
right. Like
Yeah.
when we're thinking about, look, let's start with a proposal that people can start adopting and make it very restrictive to start with is generally a lot better than
Yeah.
allowing that and disallowing that in the future.
Yeah, 100%. So the two like additive things we could do here would be to, if we figured out a nice way to do it, it would be to let you do this on inline fragments and fragment spreads, and then also like nested mocks are the two ways to extend. If we can do that in a way that maybe that's like a a way that makes sense, and maybe just this like a boil the ocean type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Okay, so there is one, if you guys refresh the agenda, we actually I added a new agenda item at the end, and I'm going to put Jose on the spot because there are several interesting stuff we've been doing with like natural language to GraphQL queries, right? With RAG as your implementation. The first one is Jose, you actually had a chat with Thor, who was not able to join the meeting today, about different embedding models and how they perform. Do you want to update the group here today?
Yeah, sure. So Alexander Diaz, Thor, and I spoke, I believe it was like 2 Fridays ago, talking about just kind of coming together and talking about how we've all been kind of iterating on these like RAG systems and frameworks. And Thor had mentioned how for the work he's been doing, and I think he talked a little bit about last week, he was talking about how for his embedding generation, he uses a Qwen or QN to actually generate the embeddings. We've been using, I think, we've kind of delegated the embedding generation to like a internal, to assist a data team in our company. But they use Dragon Roberta, I think, as the default. So older model, I guess not as a state of the art. So we start conversations with Thor about seeing if we can actually also get to start using kind of Qwen as the embedding generation internally, and seeing kind of benchmarking how does that compare to the older like Dragon Roberta model. So that's in progress. I think Koei was in contact with that team this week. I was out for the last few days, so I just came back today. But that's one space that we're doing. I think the other thing I chatted about with Thor was just kind of having a better understanding of how to benchmark these RAG-like systems. So right now we kind of like, make some changes, add some new documents into the store, or add some metadata into each of those documents, and then kind of test it out locally or see trajectories and say, oh yeah, this like looks good. But I think we want to have a more concrete awareness of how, what changes do we make and how are they, to what extent are they actually improving the store? So trying to be more kind of deterministic about that, or just if we change the chunking algorithm, do things improve? If we go from Dragon Reverter to Qwen, to what extent do we see improvements? I think that's also in the works, kind of very early and in the works, but another thing Thor and I chatted about a few weeks ago. So wanted to share it here for the broader group.
Yeah, I think it would be great, like for this group to have like a reference or recommendation. It could be a blog post, doesn't need to become a spec, but I think something like that. Here's our recommendation today. Here are the metrics that you should focus on. Here are the optimizations that you can do. Things like that would be super helpful for us to see. Doesn't need to be a concrete implementation, and for sure doesn't need to be part of the spec because they take more time. But a blog post is what I would recommend if you want to get something more lightweight out. All right, and then the next part is actually from me. So we have, apart from the embedding-based ranking scores, we're also introducing some of the other things like bumping by traffic. So one of the concrete examples I like to tell people is that let's say I want to get an information of on-call. And currently in our schema, there are like two fields. One is on-call knowledge and one is query on-call, right? Which is just like get on-call. That is a super popular field. And if the user prompt is like, can you tell me some information about a specific on-call? If you just look at the natural language mapping, you would think on-call knowledge is a better one, right? Because just like text-based, like that seems like semantically closer because I want knowledge of an on-call. However, if you are like a person who is like, okay, I'm writing a query, I'm gonna fetch information about an on-call, I should be using query on-call instead. So what we haven't done is we have pulled in our actual traffic against our schema. So in addition to the text similarity, we're also bumping the score for the fields that are more popular, are more heavily used. And we've seen some, I would say, good results in that sense. So just want to share that with this group here that we're just not going to be like kind of defaulting to the scores provided like by these embedding models, but also introducing our own customizations. Another way that we're thinking about is actually creating embeddings out of all the paths we have or all of the fragments we have, because like, you know, we all have code base with ton of GraphQL examples out there. So like one, you know, you could provide like a dictionary like lookup, and then here are examples that the model can see. So we'll keep the group posted. I think one thing that we want to get out of this eventually is also so Pascal has the reference implementation on how you do semantic introspection based on RAG. And plus, we want to give like maybe a supplementary here is the guidance of what we think you can also do to improve your RAG's quality. Because he intentionally let that kind of implementation to be opaque. All right, so I think that's pretty much everything we have. Let me refresh the agenda for one last time to see if we have anything new anyone added last minute. Okay, I think that's everything. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today, and I will see you guys next month.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting.
Bye.
Thank you.